Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending today's session with Kajanth and myself here. I'm Ashley from the Business Advisory Center, Durham. And before we get started, I know most of you know that it is Global Entrepreneurship Week, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about what the week means to BACD and the Durham region. So this is Durham Region's celebration of entrepreneurship, and it's held each November during Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's a collaboration of Durham's business support, educational, and networking organizations who have come together to encourage and support entrepreneurs, job creators, and innovators who create economic growth in the Durham region. So if you're looking to start a business, invest in a business, grow a business, we always encourage you to do it in Durham. And we just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors who have contributed and helped us promote this event. Kajanth, I don't know if you can switch to the next slide. Thank you so much. So these are amazing sponsors, and without them, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So thank you to our sponsors for this week. And I will not take up any more of your time, Kajanth. So thank you again for doing this presentation. I'm really looking forward to it and excited to see what you have in store for this presentation. So I'll hand it over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ashley. I just want to take a quick second to say thank you again for BACD for setting up this event and this wonderful roster of speakers for this week. And thank you all of you for attending this session. And again, for the sponsors who made it all happen. You guys are attending Digitizing for Growth session. It sounds very fancy, but really it isn't. I'll walk through each bit of it, and then we'll go through it one by one in terms of the typical challenges and stuff like that as a small business you run into. Make sure to stop me and write in the comment anytime when one of the slides is not clear, or any point that I mentioned is not clear to you. Drop it in the comments and I'll definitely address it as I go through it. I definitely want this to be more of an interactive session rather than just a one-way presentation today. So today's session is going to be split up into about 4 parts. Mostly 20 minutes is the presentation point, and then the rest of it, a large majority of it, we'll actually do a workshop. And then we'll allocate about 5 minutes at the end for any questions that's outside of things that we covered today. So a quick intro to me and what you'll be learning today. So who am I? I did product development for most of my career. Product development in the sense of software development. I've been always a tinkerer when I was young, and always liked the entrepreneurship world. So I was doing my own little side hustles for a very long time until I recently went into full-time gig. I've done business in all sorts of random fields. One is when I was 10 years old, I started off an IT consulting service, just doing stuff for my neighbors and relatives. And then eventually did an event management platform, a software side. And then I also did, sorry, I'm just looking at comments and I just got stopped there. I was doing event management, event platform. I was building, actually, I did this trunk organizer thing. I manufactured in China, brought it to Canada, and sold it, all sorts of things I tried. In my career, I've done software development with Ford Motor Company, SkipTheDishes. One of the biggest things that we did was an advertising platform for SkipTheDishes, and that blew up into a $40 million income business for the company alone. Shopify is a big e-commerce platform. Some of you may use it for your own businesses. A really powerful platform that we were helping them bring more entrepreneurs online. And then a venture studio is that. So I've been always in product development, software development all my life. And that's what I enjoy doing, really problem solving and helping businesses kind of grow. So why are you here today? Digitizing for Growth, kind of simplified in the function, is to improve your business operations. Some of the things that you do manually or throw more labor into can be automated, can be improved, eventually helping you grow more and be able to help more customers, to find new ways to generate revenue. You might be a service business, which is really hard sometimes to just add more revenue. Unlike a product, you just kind of market and then sell more stuff. Service-based business is really tied to the labor and the time that you involve in actually serving. So it's really difficult sometimes to find opportunities to grow. And to figure out what tech can actually help you grow in your business. Ultimately, what you want to do is find flexibility so that you can do the things you want to do and grow your business. So that's what we're going to cover today. So we'll kick off with operational scalability. So there are typically 4 large hurdles that you run into. One is in the category of new customer inquiry. That's typically just leads and prospects that you end up dealing with. The second piece is they end up converting into customers and they want quotes, invoices, and scheduling, all of those pieces. And then the core part of it is like operational struggles you typically run into, which is just executing on your service that you're doing. And the last bit is actually recurring customers. After the service is done, how do you follow up? How do you re-engage them? And how do you bring them back into your fold? So that's really the four pieces that we're going to cover under operational hurdles. So new customer, I'm going to share some client stories along the way. So please do share if any of these resonates with you, so that helps me kind of understand and maybe even like provide more clarification or examples as we go along. Typically, you might be just dealing with a lot of like explaining your service function on the phone or the email. People are asking lots of like typical questions over and over and again. Sometimes you need skilled staff to actually answer the questions. These are particular to some things that your customers are looking for. And then follow-ups with leads. So there's lots of like questions that come in and then they don't follow up and they drop off and you need to now go back and follow up with them. So some of these things might be very consuming and take a lot of time in your business operation. One of the examples that I have is actually a furniture upholstery service. They're based in Durham. They found it very difficult to scale because typically the customers are calling in and asking them specific questions based on the furniture that they have. Like, hey, I have this furniture, I want this done. Can this be done? And then they would need a skilled staff to actually be able to answer them specifically based on the needs that they have. Very time consuming, difficult, and that ends up burning a lot of time that's not really adding a lot of value or revenue to their bottom line immediately. Things you can do to improve is have a really solid website that actually answers a lot of these questions, an explainer video and written in text, basically going through the frequently asked questions and then having that sorted out. So people can go find the questions and answers to the questions that they're asking pretty much on your platform. A form that collects the customer information, send an email as a follow-up. So essentially not have to be on the phone all the time to actually like answer these questions. They can just drop these questions in. You can have someone else process it, or you can even have it automated in some way that actually responds back to them based on the typical questions that they're asking. A chatbot, really, I think, became a lot more useful in the last year because of, I'm sure you've heard about it, the whole AI boom that's happening everywhere. It's really made it a lot more relevant. Before that, chatbots weren't really relevant. Sometimes it doesn't even catch the question properly. Now it has gotten so much better that actually is really valuable to users when customers come and ask questions. This ends up being really valuable, especially if you have a very like tricky custom sort of responses you need to have based on the customer inquiry. Then the chatbot actually can go through the different logic sort of flows and then respond to the customers. A CRM tool, this is kind of tying to your lead follow-up. If you don't have a CRM tool, investing in one, or even a very simplified one, actually drives a lot of value to you because you're able to drive a lot more follow-ups. Follow-ups are the ways that you're able to get back to the customer who asked you questions maybe a month ago, but then didn't end up going through with it because life got in the way. This tool will be able to build in the automations to go and follow up with them and ask them questions. Say, hey, if you're interested, come back. Are you interested? We have some special offers. Those kind of conversations that are happening automatically without you having to trigger it. Any questions so far? Okay. Quotes and invoices. I've sent out a survey last week. There was a question about, is there AI for forms? It depends on what you're trying to do. We can probably, if there's a more specific question in terms of like what you're trying to do, I think I can answer that. There are forms that can collect information, and then you can have automation that ends up using some AI to like understand what the question is asking related to the type of answers you have, and then you can then respond back to them. Simple CRM tool, I think the most powerful one that's out there is like HubSpot is really useful. It can be simplified into specific use cases that you have, and then have it automated. And then based on what your needs are, we can then figure out like what exactly you want to follow up with. Design forms for collecting info from clients about architectural design. Amal, I'm having a hard time exactly specifying what the solution looks like. Maybe at the end of the session, I will be sharing my email as well, so we can set up like a discovery call, and then maybe we can run through more specifics exactly. That might be better, just because of the different service industry itself is like so broad, and there's so many different needs that your business specifically needs versus someone else's. So it might be hard to give you specific responses before I have more dig-ins into the conversation. So let's do a follow-up after. So if you have any questions specifically to the presentation or the slide I'm talking about, please drop them in the comment. This might be relevant to others as well. If it's very much specific to your use case or your business, let's do a discovery call, and that might be easier to kind of talk through the details. So quotes and invoices is one of the things that like I found that a lot of small businesses struggle with. Sometimes it's like price negotiation with each customer. So there's a lot of back and forth that you need to do. There might be a project that is unique and needs custom pricing. Inventory service prices change so frequently that you need to be able to provide like custom quotes for every customer. And invoicing and accounts payable management. That's another big struggle that you run into as you kind of build out these invoices. A good example that I have, a client story, is a commercial developer. They need to provide custom quotes for their project because especially this was during the pandemic when service prices and material prices were changing so much week by week or even month by month, when they had so much trouble just keeping tabs of things. So they actually had to create a database to manage all the prices for materials and services. And then someone from their team was spending somewhere around 6 hours to 10 hours, excuse me, for each quote to provide them a quote based on the custom request. It was very difficult. It was slow. Sometimes those quotes don't come back as leads because people are price shopping. So it was like a lot of time sunk for it. So they were having a really hard time. What ended up happening is they were charging their customer to do the quotes. That obviously reduces the number of people who would ask you for the quotes. So they started running into those problems as well. Some of the things that you can do to improve that is having some automated form that collects the information, and then you can have logic based to there because they already had a manual database that they were managing. You can then have like calculated quote for those inquiries, and then have it all generate an automatic proposal. Then have someone, instead of spending 10 hours to do the quote, they end up just going through, reviewing quickly, just eyeballing things to make sure everything is looking good, and then submit it to the customer. This ends up like automating the process a lot more, making it a lot faster. They can now serve a lot more customers and not have to charge a fee for the quotes. So it ends up being a lot more valuable. For those with like negotiations that you're dealing with your customer, when they come in and ask you price changes or personal preferential prices, you can avoid that entire conversation just by having a website that has fixed prices and packages. Then people just have to get to you by buying the stuff online right away, and that's the only way that they actually like book your service much faster, specifically like for things like photography and like services that are one person business. Typically has a lot of like back and forth when it comes to pricing, and sometimes it's just easier to have fixed prices that way. When it comes to accounts payable or accounts receivable and some invoice management, those kind of pieces, having automations in your bookkeeping, your invoicing system will save you a ton of time, because now you're able to have all of those things do the things that you do manually, just go back in the back of the scene is running through and automatically running through them based on the triggers you set up. So if you have an invoice that needs to be followed up, as soon as you create the invoice and send it to the customer, you set up logics in there where it sends a reminder 1 week after, 2 weeks after, and whatever on the due date or something like that. So that way you get the payments run in and you don't have to be the one who has to go through and manage them. Operational support. This is largely related to the core service that you're providing. So service reminders, onboarding customers, updating on project progress, coordinating work orders and team schedule. These are some of the core pieces that are related to executing the work itself. This can vary a lot. There's a lot more things that I've highlighted here. These are just more of like a helping brainstorming exercise for you, just to kind of like recall some of these things that you do. An example that I have is like a truck dispatch with like a fleet of 10 vehicles. They use an online work order marketplace. So basically, all these truck dispatching companies have a couple of marketplaces that they go to see any work orders that come in. So it could be like, for example, Sobeys is asking for a couple of crates of, I don't know, onions to be delivered in a different location or something like that. And they would have these small batch process like that. And there's a dispatch person going through the work orders, finding the items, finding the work orders, matching it with the fleet that's based on the like the location itself, wherever they are. They're trying to optimize the route. And then optimize the route, book the order, and then coordinate with their operators. This is a full-time job. A fleet of 10, they were spending somewhere around like $70,000 a year running this management alone. And they were starting to hit the hurdles. You no longer can grow your team more, because if you do, then you need to add more people to run the operations. This is a classic case of like simple automations that could help a lot with the company. So what we were working on is like an automated script that books the orders on the platform that's there, optimizes based on the route of the truck that was there, and then send a text message to the operators and then tell them, hey, this is your next order. Confirm if you're gonna go, if you're on your way, and when it's done, confirm again. And that basically automates the whole flow. Now, removing a lot of that manual things that they were doing repeatedly over and over to something that can be done by the system a lot more efficiently. And then that person can be used to grow the business into bigger fleet and more of the operational pieces that's needed somewhere else. When it comes to I think reminders and giving project updates, you can have email and text message systems that actually go out and then remind the people based on, hey, this is the flow, this is what you need to do. These are the things that are happening on the project, and then give them updates on that. Email automation for each customer when a purchase gets made, and then give them onboarding. I think there was an example. There was a request in one of the attendees today. They run a dance studio, and then they spend a lot of time onboarding their clients. Onboarding can be automated. Every time someone purchases the onboard that dance lessons, you have an email flow that just gives them onboarding sequence of like, hey, these are the class schedules, these are the lessons that's going to be taking place, and that's something you set at once and then automatically trigger it based on the packages that they choose. Much easier for you to manage. Recurring customers. So this is where the money is, because now you have done the service, you've done it once, they're really happy with it. The biggest thing is their life gets busy and they forget about you after, until the pain becomes really, really big. So what you need to do is be top of mind for them. There are lots of tools that can help with that. Specifically like reminding past customers, hey, there's an upcoming schedule. This is what's happening. More of a reminder system. Or keeping top of mind by engaging with them. You've seen a lot of newsletters. I'm sure you're subscribed to a ton. That's one way to keep top of mind for your customers, by being there and then reminding them that your service is there, by giving them something super valuable on an infrequent basis. It doesn't have to be a weekly newsletter. It could be a monthly or a quarterly newsletter, just letting them know. My accountant does a good job. She sends us monthly reminders each month of like, these are the things you can do. These are the things that you should take advantage of. This is the tax benefit that you can do. So these are really valuable things that I can learn passively through the newsletter. So that's one of the examples that you can do to find out what exactly your client needs on a passive level that they would really appreciate knowing. For example, if you run a commercial cleaning service and your customer would benefit from knowing the safe products that are out there that are being newly released, that may be really valuable for their customers or their employees. So you end up like sending them email newsletters letting them know this is what you do. Or a seasonal one where you let them know, hey, winter's coming, you want to clean up this stuff. Or a photography business sends seasonal updates on these are the packages, there's a fall season coming in, take advantage of it. These are the places that you can go take pictures at, book a session with me, and then we can do it together. So those are some of the things that you can do to keep on top of mind for your clients. When it comes to the example that I had, I think previously missed, is a dental clinic. This dental clinic, they send manual calls to the customers right before the session happens, 1 or 2 weeks out before. They call them, let them know, hey, you have a dental session booked with us. And they do that manually, confirm with them. If a person cancels on them, I don't think they have a follow-up. And this is where it drops off, where they're not really following up their customers. If they had automated it with simple text message automation, just letting them know that there's a upcoming schedule. If they cancel on it, follow up. You can have follow-up systems built in that ends up rescheduling with them. They're leaving a lot of money on the table because now they don't have a flow in their system where they're doing everything manually. It breaks and there's no longer a follow-up with the customer that canceled. And typically people don't think of a problem like dental cleaning or frequent check-in until there's a problem. Then only they go back. So you want to be there top of mind for them by reminding them constantly. That kind of concludes our operational component of it. We're going to go into new revenue section. Is there any questions that we have? I think we have one from Liz. How do we find out what these tool solutions are, or is this something you offer? This is something that I can offer. There are lots of off-the-shelf solutions that are out there. That could be something that I can just give you over the discovery call. There may be custom components that you might need based on your unique needs of your business. That's the part that we can offer as a build that we can do for you. So it really depends. It's really hard to say this tool is great for everyone because service-based businesses are so different and different needs there are. So you need to find something that best suits your needs. I think Oz kind of put a question: the more tools, the more time is needed to manage them. For a professional service company, what's most important to start with? That's a very difficult question to answer without understanding what exactly you do. Again, I think I'll share my contact information at the end of the session. Book a discovery call with me, and then we can chat some more. Okay. Going to new revenue section. So we're going to be exploring new revenue in two forms: low-cost alternatives and helping your peers. So I'll explain a little bit more. Low-cost alternatives. You're a service-based business. To scale more, you need to spend more time and more labor to actually get that. The other alternative is finding ways to basically attract a different segment of customers. So I'll walk through an example. An interior designer, very custom solution. They come to your place. They look at what you need. It could be a business or a home. They then provide custom solutions based on your needs of your environment. It's a very expensive service. Only a certain segment of customers can use. But there are lots of people who are interested in making their place, their workspace, really nice and attractive. The other alternative is a low-cost DIY solution. It could be an online course or a worksheet that you sell. Instead of charging the customer, I don't know, $2,000 or $5,000 for that service, you now charge them $200 and they can do it themselves. Or you provide a software that guides them through the thinking systems that you have as a designer, and you build that in as like a form that they ask questions. You ask questions, they answer them, and then based on the logic of answers that they have, you provide an answer to them. Or a site, you have pre-selected products, and then the customer can choose based on the filtered like mood or styles that you have, and then they can select the items and purchase them through that. So there's a different way to add new revenue to your business, completely outside of what you do at core. It's the fastest way to add more revenue because you're essentially creating a new segment of customers you're able to attract and grow with. Helping your peers. This is a really fun one because this is tied to all the problems that I talked about in the previous section, your operational challenges. You need to know you're not alone, especially in the industry that you're in. If you're running into a certain set of problems, most likely your peers, your competitors are having that problem. So what you could do is build the solution for you, work with it, and then sell that to your competitors. Example is a commercial construction company. They were exploring like automation for quoting their customers. This is a problem that every construction company goes through because it's very custom, very much catered to the needs of that project. What they were looking at is like a form that does automation with industry prices for materials and services, and then provide a quote back to the customer. they were looking at spinning this up as a tool that other commercial construction companies can use, and they can now generate revenue through the software that they built to solve their problem. You might be wondering, why would they do that? There's a differentiator they're going to lose out on. Not really. Your customers are attracted to your service. That's beyond just the quoting function that they solved. Quoting function is a small piece of the puzzle, right? Of providing the service. The other piece is the quality of the service, the output, and the customer service that you provide after that they've actually engaged with you. Those are all things that are differentiators for you. So when you sell a portion of the problem that you solved, you're now generating new revenue for your business. This is kind of how Amazon has built its a massive business. Amazon started off as just purely a marketplace to sell to customers. They solved each component of their problem, which is like warehousing and managing. That's one technology that they built. They sold it to other marketplace businesses to run on Amazon. They have a whole logistics function that they end up selling into everyone. They have their whole tech side, AWS, their cloud service that they have, that's entirely built as a solution for them. And then they ended up growing it as a massive business. So that's one way that you can scale your business, very much solving your own problem and your peers' problem. Any questions? So we have one with, we are a dental clinic and lab. We manually follow up as a majority of our patients are elderly, not sure how to automate that part. There are phone automation tools. We use it at SkipTheDishes. They end up calling people on their phone and letting them know that they have an upcoming appointment. And you can even have set functions like accept or confirm that I'll be attending, or deny I won't be able to attend. And then those two functions can be built in a way that actually rejects the scheduled appointment. So you can do that on a touch dial phone, not a smartphone, not a text phone. So you can definitely do that. That function is available. There's tools that are out there that can do that. But we should definitely chat potentially to just talk through the specifics of your use case itself. So free discovery call. This is my email. The fastest alternative also is booking a meeting with me. I'll send the link to my Calendly. You can copy paste this URL into your browser and then book a time with me to talk through your specifics. I'll send again a clickable link. Sorry. Yeah, this is a clickable link. You can book a session with me through following that link. And then it's a 20-minute call. I'm offering it to everyone in this session. So you can definitely take advantage of just brainstorming the problems that you have and the challenges that you're running into, and then walk through that in specifics. So next piece, I took a little longer than I initially anticipated, and it was supposed to be only a 20-minute presentation. But we'll kind of crunch this through. This is the workshop piece. I want everyone to try to access this link. This will essentially force you to create a copy of the document into your own Google Drive. Once you do, you will see something like this. There's two tabs, one for optimizing your operation. The other one is just brainstorming new revenue options. The goal today is for you to spend the next 20 minutes with a partner. So Ashley's going to help me here to set you up in groups of 2, and where you're going to spend just a quick 5 minutes to introduce each other on your business. The biggest piece is for you to give the other person a quick background about your business, what you do. So I run a dance studio, I have a photography business, I have a law clinic, whatever that is. And then spend the next 5 minutes on each of your business. So one of you volunteer and talk through the main manual tasks that you run into, and don't just focus on your own personal one, but talk about it as your organization. If the organization is more than one, talk about the main things that you run through as operational challenges. The reason you're doing this is to calculate the cost of this. Sometimes you don't realize how much you're spending until you actually put dollars behind it. And what this will do is allow you to prioritize them based on the biggest value item. Some things you might be really painful for you, but then you might be doing it very infrequently versus something else that you do regularly, but then you just forgot about it being a big pain. And it's important for you to kind of figure out, is that really value add? Can you automate it? This is going to save you money and time. And that's really what you want to do with the operational piece. And then when it comes to the revenue tab, the next tab following it, what you should do is walk through the potential of like expanding your business. What are some things that your customers are asking for, but you just never did because it's not worth your time? Can you build digital products for that? Can you build a digital solution for that? That ends up giving people the option to purchase your service at a lower cost. So that's pretty much the exercise. And once you get started, I'll jump through each of the breakout rooms just to kind of answer any questions for you, and then we'll reconvene in about 20 minutes.